All right, it is July 16th, and I am almost fully recovered from what I would consider maybe a mild cold. I was suffering from a little bit of fatigue, and I don't have the motivation to go out to thrift stores today. And I do have both of my girls with me. It's kind of swept through my family, so we're on the mend, and you might be able to hear the congestion still in my voice a little bit. So, what you and I are going to do today is we're going to sit down by my computer and I'm going to go over 15 items that I've sold recently, all for over $100. So we're going to focus on big money sales only. Some of these took forever to sell, some of them sold quickly, plenty in between, and we will look at some sold comparables too as well. So, yeah, I got some hot coffee ready to go, and hopefully my voice stays intact. And bear with me; we will slug through this one together. Okay, this first I have to believe that going back into Terapeak, I saw a comparable that was around $100 for almost the same thing because this is a very unassuming chest. It's a 1916s Kronstrom's ice chest. And in my listing, I put that the seal was very tight, even though if you look at it, this thing looks kind of beat up, very unassuming. I couldn't have paid more than $10 for this at a thrift store, and it sold for $100. But if you take a look at it, look, it looks kind of beat up, right? And I had to ship this all the way out to California. So definitely look for Kronstroms. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it exactly, but look for these coolers. They do come in various shapes and in sizes, which I will show you in just a minute. This took over 2 years to sell. It's been in my garage forever, just sitting down on the bottom of a shelf, and I basically almost forgot about it. So I'm happy that it sold for $100. I'm not exactly sure why it took as long as it did. Here are some of the comparables for this brand. Here's a cooler for from the 1950s that might be a little not as wide that sold for, well, it looks like it was sold on a best offer. Another one here that sold for 125. A lot of these from the 50s, so maybe mine was from the 50s. I don't know. I have 60s in there. I don't remember what the comps looked like because this was so long ago, but they definitely sell. So when you see this brand, absolutely look for it and look it up because at a minimum, look, 75, $70, definitely worth it. And a lot of the thrift stores are probably going to not misprice this, but they're just going to pass it on because it looks, especially the one that I sold, looked a little bit almost on the damaged side. So it's very unassuming. It was a very unassuming $100. These are the type of things that you definitely want to put on your BOLO list. Make sure you're looking for them. Hopefully you run into them because it's a lot less likely, especially if you source heavy in thrift stores like I do, that they will mark this up. So that was a good sale. All right, next thing here to just adjust my chair is a Rubik's Cube of designs from an arts and crafts YouTuber by the name of Mariah Elizabeth. She's got like between 10 and 11 million subscribers. She targets children. So this was an item that my oldest daughter must have bought, or I bought for her a long time ago and forgot about. And we were getting rid of stuff, and she was like, "Hey, I think this thing might be worth something. Take it." It definitely was. This YouTuber is still very popular with kids, and a lot of it, the arts and crafts related content is healthy content. So probably a good. And I'm speaking not really ever having looked at her content in full. So definitely double check because there are certain YouTubers out there that target kids where the content is just awful, totally inappropriate. I don't believe she's one of those, so it sounds like a safe bet. But her Rubik's Cube sold for $100. Didn't cost me anything, at least not this year. I don't remember what it was when I bought it many years ago. Totally sealed. Definitely a market for her items. I have this sorted from highest priced to lowest priced. So one of the things you want to look for is her little plush dog. This one sells pretty regularly in that $200 range ish. She has a character guidebook that looks like it sells for a good amount as well. And then down here, you will start to see, it looks like, okay, what is this? This looks like a bag that she had, or a purse that she had manufactured. $150, but I don't know what the retail was on that, so we have to wait. Another plush, Mega Chubs. Here's a lot of them lotted up for $100. There's my listing right there. Her backpack. This is going to be important because backpack season is basically now for resellers if you're sourcing those. So a character mashup backpack. Here's another one. And so on and so forth. So yes, definitely still a relevant YouTuber, and that item sold for $100. It was a good sale. Next thing here, another artist, Robert Crumb. This design on this shirt is Mr. Natural. This was like a brownish, grayish color shirt. I didn't really have it listed that long. Oh, and the Mariah Elizabeth thing, that took 3 weeks to sell. This item took 2 months to sell. I bought it inside a thrift store, so it costs, I think t-shirts now in this store are $6, which is crazy, but trust me, on a $100 sale, I'm not complaining. $6. This one took 2 months to sell. His vintage shirts and designs definitely, especially if we're speaking about the Mr. Natural design, sell for good money. Here's a list of some of the recent sales on his shirts. This shirt right here, Caught in the Grips of Despair. This looks like this was a Supreme collaboration. So that would have been marked up MSRP, just FYI. Something to consider, because this may not have been a flip at all. This might have been somebody that paid $60 for the shirt, so you just got to keep that in mind. Here's a vintage one, comic artist. Here's some more Mr. Natural designs. This one sold for $65. This one sold for $100. There's my listing right there. Robert Johnson, R. Crumb. I'm not sure exactly what this one is. This shirt looks very boxy. This is not relevant. But here's another design of his. Here's one that sold for $200, silk screen. Very cool. You definitely an artist that you want to pay attention to. Not all of them are going to get you $100, but if you find Mr. Natural, it's likely that you will be able to mark that design up and make some good money. So keep that in mind. And we will move on to the next one. This was a garage sale find. So way to go, Brendan. Pat on the back there, buddy. Bath & Body Works, Aquatonica Spa Marine Body Tonic. That is a mouthful. With exclusive marine nutrient I don't even know what that says. Complex? Okay, whatever you say. I don't know. It's one of those potions that people use for whatever reason. I have no idea. I had it listed for $120, and I believe it sold for $102. It did sell in 4 days, and it was brand new, never used. The Aquatonica line, especially this 3.4 ounce tonic, if you will, sells for a high dollar amount most of the time. So here's my sale from May 21st, $102. The one that I was going off of is likely this one right here, which I saw for $120, which is where I believe I had that one listed at. Is that what I had it listed at? Yeah, I had it listed for $120. So this is the sale that I was going off of. But look, you can see it sold for $85 here, so on and so forth. There's a lot here of $95. So I knew that I could sell it for a high dollar amount. I was surprised, I guess, in some small way that it did sell as quickly as it does. Probably going to be a harder one to find, but the fact that I found it at a garage sale is like what's exciting to me. So keep an eye out for that Aquatonica line from Bath & Body, because it looks like it's pretty rare. Next thing here is an AdCraft food warmer that was in excellent condition. This took forever to sell as well. And then you'll see on the next screen, two of them sold on the exact same day. So mine sold on July 7th, and another one also sold on July 7th. I sold this for full price, $120. It took almost 2 years to sell, but it was very clean, and I feel like I paid $19.99 for this. I don't write down the prices that I pay for every single item. I total everything up on a monthly basis. I pay more attention to what my monthly numbers are, not what my individual priced items are. So it worked perfect. Got it shipped out. Hopefully that buyer is happy. This was a commercial buyer that I noticed, but you can see on the next slide, both of them selling on the same day, although this one doesn't look like it is complete. So anyway, there's another one, sort of similar. Doesn't look like it comes with the the actual pots that go on top, but a good sale nonetheless. Is this something that you're going to find? I don't know, but what I can tell you is I like to target where I can commercial buyers, and as long as you're not allowed to ship large items, like they have this type of stuff built into their working budgets. So it's not like selling a $100 t-shirt to somebody that really doesn't need the $100 t-shirt. This is probably something that they need to use in their business, whatever, for whatever function. So it's something that I try to pay attention to. And there are places that I source that I don't film in that kind of cater to like commercial types of buyers like this. But so it's something that I suggest you also do if you if you're willing to try to evolve the things you sell. A lot of us get stuck. Like I just sell clothing, or I'm only a shoe seller. I'm really trying not to be that seller, and this is one of the ways that I try my best to diversify. Next thing here, I didn't even know this brand existed. FOCO, like this Lego. It's almost like a Lego offshoot or something like this. And they've done a lot of like the ballparks, the football parks, the baseball parks, football arenas, stuff like that. This is the Great American Ballpark, Cincinnati Reds. This thing sold for full price, $125. And this also only took 4 days to sell. So it was a great, great sale. But if you look on the next page, a lot of these things, and I'm wondering I don't know if they're still producing these or if this is something that's discontinued, but this is really cool and something that I'm surprised Lego hasn't capitalized on. Because you can very clearly see, like, this was Lincoln, Philly, sold for $100. This one sold for $95. Here's another $100. Seattle Mariners baseball park, $100, 87. Arrowhead Stadium, the Chiefs, $100. I mean, it was not a surprise that mine sold for $125. Here's Green Bay for $130. Definitely I feel like someone's going to come into a lot of these at a garage sale. At the thrift stores, it's going to be hit or miss whether they purge this and scan this and send this to like places like Shop Goodwill, or they put it behind the counter in a glass case and mark it up. I don't really know. That's going to depend on a lot of things, whatever it is in your area. But yeah, these will turn up at garage sales for sure. These are pretty cool. This one sold for $200. It's amazing. Wrigley Field, pretty cool. Definitely keep an eye out for that. That was a great sale and a quick one as well. Okay, Golden Goose. I'm surprised that this brand there are like 12,000 active listings for these shoes, which almost seems like a lot because these are really expensive. And only maybe 2,000 or 3,000 have sold in the last 90 days. So I wonder if like the popularity is declining. This is a very, very expensive shoe brand made to look not expensive. So a lot of the design elements that you see on this shoe, especially like the scrape on the star, that was done purposely by the manufacturer, even when they were brand new. Now, clearly these have some wear on them, but this is how they're supposed to look in most cases. So the style on this one is Francie. It was a woman's size 6. Here's some more of the pictures. Again, there's the scratch on the star. They just look worn, but they're made to look that way. So they were authenticated, 100% authentic. This person left me positive feedback, so they were very pleased with the sale. I feel like there's a good number of you that didn't know that this Golden Goose brand was a thing. They are definitely faked, so you have to pay attention to that. I can't tell you what the telltale signs are on what's fake and what's not fake, but I did find these in a thrift store, and I paid, I think, either $5 or $6 for them, so they were not marked up. And I had them listed for $150, and they sold for $125, and they sold in 3 weeks. So here are some of the recent sales on Golden Goose shoes. Brand new pair. Somebody accepted an offer. It looks like even their Golden Goose Deluxe brand vintage hoodie. I didn't know that they were making clothing, but you can see these look like stains and they look like rips. It's just, that's their design element. That's one of the things that they do. So here's a pre-owned pair of high tops that sold for $175. Here's a pair of low tops that were youth that sold for $90, so on and so forth. Brand new for $515. We have a Golden Goose store in an indoor-outdoor mall called Easton in our area, and the MSRP on some of the shoes on like the wall are around $900 to $1,000. So this shoe, for example, would be in that window for like $975. Crazy, right? But there's a market for it. So expensive, might still be kind of flying under the radar, but I'm surprised that there were that many listings of this brand. 12,000, even though on in the grand scheme of things that doesn't seem like a lot, because just how expensive they are. So if you didn't know, now you know. I gotta take a sip of coffee because my voice is struggling. Okay, I listed this North Face jacket on December 18th, 2018. So we were getting close to this listing's what, 8th birthday? That is ridiculous. Now, I have a feeling that maybe there's an error in this listing somewhere. I don't know exactly where the error was because this was a list and forget. And I think I bought this on Facebook Marketplace, if I'm even remembering correctly, 7 or 8 years ago. It is absurd to carry a listing that long. And I know there's a lot of you out there that have listings that are just as old. So it's just kind of funny. I took these pictures indoors. Terrible idea. But it's the Trans Antarctica line that usually sells well. Like this probably should have sold better. So there was something wrong with this listing, and I didn't take the time to identify it. So I had it listed for $140. It sold for $126. The listing was almost 7 full years old, and I don't know what was wrong with it. There had to have been something because this should have sold much quicker. So here's some of the patches that you'll notice. Let me look at the back here. Trans Antarctica 1990, Polar Tech. Where is my error? Are we identifying an error? I don't see one. Anyway, if you look at North Face Trans Antarctica, they are still manufacturing this line. You see brand new 380. Here's a pre-owned one that looks just like mine that was listed for 65 that somebody took an offer on. There's that patch right there. This is a Supreme collaboration, so maybe that one really doesn't count. A lot of these are sold new. There's mine. North Face Trans Antarctica shirt that sold for $125. This is pretty sweet. That's pre-owned. What else? Here's another shirt sold for $65. This one was listed at $850. So there's big money in this line of North Face. Definitely pay attention to that. But there is no reason that my listing should have taken that long to sell. This one looks like the one that I had that sold for $43. Maybe I just had it overpriced. I doubt it though. I think there was just something wrong in there. All right, another garage sale find, Avita Original Pure Foam Brilliant Spray for hair. Another discontinued item that was brand new, never used. I had this one listed for $150. It sold for $128, and it only took 1 day to sell. Very clearly, this is in demand, and people will pay a premium price for it, as you can see right here. New without box. I don't know that this is the same thing. This price looks off. This item doesn't. Maybe it is the same. They have this priced really, really low. So the going rate is definitely above $100 and some. I had mine listed for $150. So somebody must have come in with an offer, or I sent out an offer on a day where sales were slow. Keep your eye out for that one. Next item here is a Cleveland Indians jersey, and I don't think there was a player or a number on the back. Yeah, okay. So no number on the back. I'm taking my pictures. I can see like after probably 2 or 3 o'clock because I see shadows. So my pictures aren't the greatest, but I probably just had to get this done this day. So what I do most often is like I preach taking the best pictures that you can. But what's more important than that is getting something done. I have a tendency to like wait for the perfect timing every day to take certain pictures, and that slows me down. So getting it done is always better than having it be the best all the time. Just get the item done and photographed and completed. So that's what I did here. Had it listed for $150. It was a size 48. It's vintage. I didn't see Chief Wahoo anywhere on here, so maybe that is the reason it was a little bit of a slower seller, because it took 1 year and 3 months to sell. $150. I had it listed for that. It sold for $128, and yes, it took over a year to sell. If we look at some recent vintage Cleveland Indians jerseys that have sold, here's one that was newly listed that sold really quickly, maybe because it was a 2X. Doesn't look like this has a number on it either. Here's a Majestic that sold for 50. Albert Bell was a very polarizing uh, athlete in the 90s. He played with the Cleveland Indians, went on to the Chicago White Sox, and then from there to the Baltimore Orioles before retiring, I think, due to maybe some health issues. But like related to play, not nothing like serious, but he was absolutely beloved in Cleveland, but he had a really contentious relationship with the media, and he wasn't always nice in public. So, but he was spectacular. If you're from Cleveland, or you're a baseball fan, and you're old like me, you remember those teams from the mid '90s who were just spectacular. Watching baseball in Cleveland, Ohio, in the mid '90s was like a real treasure. I cannot believe that those '90s teams never won a World Series. They did get there twice, I think '95 and '97. But Albert Bell was a member of those teams, like one of the core power hitters. So his stuff always sells pretty well. Man, that was a fun time watching those teams. All those come from behind victories at it was called the Jake. Now it's Progressive Field. Jacobs Field is what it was called. Here's a 46, size 46. This is like a vintage, almost like the 80s, early 90s, late 80s Cleveland Indians design was. But you get the idea here. There's money in the old Cleveland Indians stuff. So some good sales there. It's fun to reminisce about that. Okay. What are we looking at? Small World rhythm clocks. I've sold probably 3 or 4 of these, and they always sell for over $100. They play a multitude of songs, not like there's a list on the back. I wonder if we can see it in my pictures. When I had this listed for 200, it sold for 150. It only took 1 month to sell, and I think I paid $9.99 for it. But so We're All Alone. There's Yesterday, Once More, Without You. I don't know. It looks like there are 6 different songs that play. It played perfect. It was very clean, really pretty sounding. My pictures aren't the greatest because of the reflection, but you get the point. There's lights and there's sound, so I try to take pictures where you can see like the lights on the stars, where they're holding their little wands lit up, just to reassure the buyer that all of the lights did work. These trumpets or horns, like they moved up and down, so everything was working properly. And you have to be very careful when you ship these because it is a little bit larger. But yeah, $150 for this, pretty good. I mean, I'll take that. And in a month, that was a great sale. Here are some rhythm clocks that have sold recently. This is called the Gadget Clock 350. It's got Swarovski crystals in it. That's amazing. So it's another one that I was listed for $302. That's crazy. One that is similarly shaped, oval, 110. Someone took an offer. This one is really pretty. Motion clock, that had 30 songs on it for $250. So maybe the amount you get is related to the amount of songs it plays. That could be a thing. But rhythm clocks, look for them. Again, they're a little bit larger, so you got to be careful when you ship them. But they sell for great money. Check all these out. This is good. Blimp City. This one's fun. Yeah, well, you get the point. All right, Bath and Body. This was the focus of one of my videos. I still don't know how to pronounce this. Mirror. 3-wick scented candle. I sold this for, first of all, I undersold it. I had it listed for $190. It should have sold for $190. I did take an offer in 5 days of getting it listed for $150. That's what it sold for. I don't know what I paid for, $4 for it, $3, something like that. This is definitely the winner in the last 90 days in terms of like the most consistent high dollar sales for Bath and Body candles. Right now, when I'm searching, everything is kind of Halloween dominated. So I have Bath and Body Works candle, and then I have this sorted price shipping highest to lowest, and you see like a lot of Halloween stuff. The big luminary haunted houses. This is this year's 2025 design. This is like Frankenstein's Bakery is what they're calling it. Its retail price is $275. So that's like the big ticket item that Bath and Body is selling, and they're calling it their Summerween sale. It seems like it's really early for them to be putting out their Halloween stuff. It's not going to change. This is going to carry through until they're done with it. So it's just so early to be doing that, like so soon after the 4th of July, although I'm here for it. But if we're looking for just single wick candles, You got to really like. Here's another one that's the one that I sold for 215, not the actual one that I sold, same style. Um, and then that's kind of it. There's my sale there. This is last year's Luminary Haunted House from Bath and Body, and then there's another one of those. There was one, and I believe it was a PS I Love You. Here it is right here. That sold for 170. So here's another one to look for. This is a 3-wick, 14.5 ounce. That looks like it's pretty rare. That one sold for 170. That was a great sale. After that, though, a lot of these are like lotted up listings. You can see 6, 4, 6, and then tons of Halloween related items. So if you got Halloween stuff sitting at home, start getting it listed because it looks like it is selling. There was one more candle I thought I saw that I wanted to show you before I close this link up. This one right here, Happiness Aromatherapy. This one sold for $125 with $10 shipping. So this is another one maybe to pay attention to, Aromatherapy Happiness. But and then look at this one down here. This is great. Spiced Cider, $125. That's a great sale. Of course, it's Halloween, but yeah, the one that I found seems like the winner in the last 90 days. All right, next thing here. This was another like garage. So this was almost a citywide garage sale that I found this at. I paid $10 for it. Callaway bag, 4-way divider. So I wasn't expecting this to sell for full price. I was expecting to take an offer, and we've got red, white, and blue colors. We got the American flag. I listed it for $175. I sold it for $175, and it sold on July 4th. It took 3 weeks to sell, and again, I only paid $10 for it. Callaway bags are definitely good sellers. This one is a Warbird. That's an 8-way divider that somebody sold for $55. This one, and this is why it's hard when you're running a business. This is not. I don't believe this is somebody that is running a business, and if they are, I have no idea what they were thinking to be listing a Big Bertha Callaway bag, 6-way divider for $60, and then I don't know if they offer free shipping or not. This seems like this is selling for weight. If they offered free shipping, I don't know how they made any money, because it was a new listing, so it sold really quickly, which is usually an indication that it was undersold. But you have to deal with this because I feel like 80% of the sellers that sell things on eBay are just trying to get rid of stuff. They're not worried about what the recent solds are. I think you should be paying attention to that. And I think a lot of people that they don't want to give their items away will also do that. But you have to deal with this sometimes. It's not. I wouldn't call this a comparable buster, but most people, they're just trying to get rid of stuff. So this looks like that might have been the case. I mean, this person does have 2,500 feedback. So I don't know. I'm not picking on you, but what were you thinking? Anyway, $67 here, $100 here. A 7-way Heineken bag that sold for $71 with $25 shipping. Here's another one that sold really quickly, 6-way divider for $88. So on and so forth. But yeah, Callaway bags, especially pre-owned ones, they look like they sell pretty easily. This bag looks like the one I sold. It's very similar to it for $100. So that's that. Another golf item listed for $200, sold for $175. Golf simulator. I have no idea how to operate this thing. I paid $25 for this at a thrift store, and it sold within 10 days. It's definitely an in-demand item. Here's one pre-owned. This best offer, sold brand new for $200 here, $165, $125. But I think maybe you need a big monitor for this. I'm not exactly sure, but because I'm not a golfer, and I really didn't look into it much further than what the sold prices were when I was going to get this listed. But I'm happy to take the $175, and in 10 days, that's pretty good sales. So this was one of those behind the counter items that was marked up. But if you see it on a cart when it's coming out, scoop it up. Looks like they sell pretty well year round. I'm wondering if this is something that you use primarily indoors. I don't know if you can also use it outdoors if you're a golfer and you know. Let me know in the comments, but that was a good sale. And then the last thing here is probably the least sexy thing that I sold. a Delta Drive chair motor for a Lazy Boy. I feel like the only reason this thing sold for $200 is because it was brand new, because it is the only sold in the last 90 days. And there are lots of them listed a little bit lower in price that are pre-owned. So maybe there's a trust issue there. Mine was brand new, listed it for 200, sold it for 200. It took 5 months to sell. I think I paid $8.99 for it. And the only reason it was marked $8.99 is because the item is heavy. And a lot of times the thrift stores will think that a heavier item is more valuable, or at least that's how they price it based on its weight. So I'll take it, $200. And here's some similar ones that have sold pre-owned. I don't know if they can service the exact same types of chairs that motor does, but you get the idea. Anyway, 15 items. Hope you enjoyed that. My voice is still sort of intact. I'm going to let you go here, and we're going to do a little bit of resting. So I appreciate each and every one of you, and we'll see you in the next video.